Okay, it looks like we're live, so good evening and welcome everybody. I've got the intermission screen up because I'm not quite ready. I've just got to adjust some settings, but I figure it's best to have the stream coming up early. But if you've got any questions, leave a comment and I'll see what I can do to address it. So, okay. Uh, there we go. That's the setting I was looking at changing. Okay, it's been a busy day, so let's bring that up. Of course. All right, so welcome to the Office Hour stream on the 6th of May, 2025. The goal of my Office Hour streams is to be a live stream where people can drop in and ask questions about just about anything. And if there aren't any questions pending, I'll try and fill the time as best as I can. And today I'm going to show off some code that I've done and give it a bit of a final test quality assurance of a prototype before hopefully during the stream making it live if there's no showstoppers there. But yeah, that's redundant. Okay. All right, so I'm on a slightly different setup at the moment. I've got usually onto a monitor and I've got a replacement setting, so things are a little bit different to get used to, but finding my way around. And yeah, okay. I should be able to, I don't want to kick off the main thing that I've done, gazetted or announced in that the GCompris playtesting is going to happen, and I won't want to kick that off before 7:30. So I'll just spend the time filling in with 5 minutes. So are there any initial questions or questions from prior streams? None that I'm aware of. But if you do after watching the video or even during the video, leave a comment or comment to the video after it's finished, then I'll see what I can do to get back to it. I was browsing YouTube recently and saw that they had the movie A Bridge Too Far. It's available to watch for free with ad support, I think, every 10 minutes, or they will schedule an ad. There's quite a few movies up there at the moment, but it depends on whoever owns the movie in what capacity YouTube can display it. And I think maybe something like no one's streaming is willing to pick it up at the moment. Say no one also wants to make DVDs or Blu-rays and publish them for some movies. So they're saying, hey, well, if everything else fails, we'll put it on YouTube with ads and maybe get a little bit of money. And sometimes there's some pretty good gems there. And this one is a World War II, I think epic is it's the right word for it. So I've sort of got these the wrong way, but I'll stick with The Bridge Too Far first. So Bridge Too Far was filmed in 1977, and it's a film about Operation Market Garden. Like Battle of Britain, it is a dramatization of historical events, but it tries to stick true to what actually happened. So being later in the war, America has joined, and the generals, the higher-ups, have an ambitious plan to attack to end the war by Christmas. I think this is in 1944. And the movie shows several different unit commanders. It's got an all-star cast of Robert Redford, Sean Connery, Michael Caine, Anthony Hopkins, and Gene Hackman. And there's a lot of people in there. Apparently the movie went for some awards, and they won half the awards that were available. So it's a movie I highly recommend. It shows a paratrooper drop behind German lines and them holding out because the Allies want to get into Germany, but there are several wide rivers in Europe that they've got to cross from once they've fought their way in for France from Britain. And they need to get these intact. So they came up with a plan to capture and hold all these heavy bridges that can support tanks. And when people start becoming aware of things like the Germans, where we think they were only small and disorganized, it turns out they're a bit larger than expected. No one really wants to upset the apple cart, so to speak, and someone up high has the idea of that the show must go on, so they push on. And the story shows several things going wrong with the plan. So here's the link. The link is in the description to this live stream. And but if you see, if you search for Bridge Too Far, you should be able to see it from YouTube movie. So I'll tick those off. So, and the Battle of Britain is filmed in 1969. It's again a dramatization of historical events, and it was epic to film. So they found over 100 aircraft to be used. They had a filming aircraft that they painted very all distinct colors to stand out, so that all of the aircraft that were coming in and as if they were flying the fight were could easily identify it. And like everyone went to big lengths to make sure there was no accidents in there. But the movie set at a point in the World War II where Britain is standing alone against Germany. France has been conquered. Germany hasn't kicked off against Russia yet. And it starts with some diplomacy, which doesn't quite end well because Britain isn't trusting Germany. And the movie goes to show the home life and the coordination between the observers on the ground, the radar units, and the ground controllers and the fighter squadrons of Spitfires and Hurricanes. It also shows squadrons hurriedly being formed. So there was pilots that have come over to Britain to fight because they couldn't fight with in their own country, so specifically the Polish. And it finishes off with Winston Churchill talking about the few. So never has the field of humanity has so much been owed by so few, referring to there was only maybe several hundred pilots forming the line of defense between Britain and Germany, because Germans' Air Force, the Luftwaffe, wanted to get aerial supremacy before Germany started an invasion. And the RAF was able to halt those plans. So they're movies that are worth a look because of the sheer epicness of them. All right, so next I'll have an introduction, and I'll just flip the intermission screen up. Okay, so GCompris-ra. So what's it about, and what am I trying to achieve? So GCompris is an open source software aimed at young learners, and GCompris-ra is a fork aimed at expanding the program to help people learn English quickly. It's not constrained by trying to keep it kid friendly, and also not trying to go for other languages. I'm trying to, build upon the extensive amount of programs and code in there to add some more stuff to take people from what its current limit of, I think it's maybe 5 to 10, and take people to proficient English as fast as I can, or as fast as they're comfortable and so on. So I'm specifically also looking to support it running on one platform, Raspberry Pi, and I've got a Raspberry Pi 400 that I can physically do the testing on. So officially, GCompris-ra is only supported on a officially supported on a Pi 400, but a Pi 4 is very similar to it, and I believe if any software can run on a Raspberry Pi, maybe not some of the older models like a Pi 2, but it should be able to run. So, and I'm also developing this onto a much more recent Ubuntu or Ubuntu laptop. So you should be able to get it running on other programs. I haven't gone too far off what GCompris is. So if you can get the original one running on a system, you should be able to get my fork running on it relatively easily. I'm also hoping to expand on a few modules, and I'll step into that into the demonstration. But today's release just adds the memory word picture module, and that's where players will search through a shuffled deck of cards. One of them has a word on the side, one of them has a picture on the other side, and they've got to find the matching pair. I've only got a few at the moment, but I wanted to do an initial proof of concept and get something out there because I've had something almost ready to go and just sitting waiting to happen, and it just never quite got across the line. And after this little bit of testing, it should get across that line. And yeah, I had to shelve it because I had to wipe some computers, and there are a few things that got in the way. But today I've gotten the head of Steam up again, and I've recently searched for a whole bunch of source that I had on my laptop and found some older versions of it to base the current modification off. And true fashion, I kept saving different copies and different names, so it's now back under source control over at GitHub. There should be a link in the description as well. So I also I made a copy of the official repository quite some time ago, and it was using GCompris. So not GCompris, sorry, it was using Qt5. And the official repository since upgraded to Qt6, which isn't supported on my laptop, and it's not supported on the Raspberry Pi. So when I upgraded my fork of their repository to do Qt6 instead of 5, I managed to destroy software. But on my computer, I had an older copy of Qt5 version, so I've since uploaded a completely new copy, but it's based off previous fork. So yeah, I picked up the project recently and said first thing I'm going to do is get a prototype running in some capacity. It's not quite tuned, but I wanted to have something I could deliver. And just like the slides, some things aren't right exactly. But anyway, yeah, and as I said, it's rough around the edges, but it's a great proof of concept. So it uses SVGs, scalar vector graphics. So a picture it might be a bitmap or a JPEG or a PNG, but this one's like a list of brushstrokes. And that way, if you need to expand your graphics to go from something like being a little logo in the corner of a page to something that's a full page or even a billboard, then you can easily expand it because it contains all the instructions. And of course, GCompris was released under the GNU public license. If I was to release the software again, I have to keep using it under that software license. And I wanted to make sure that all of the things that I did add to it were able to be, I had a record of where it was downloaded from. I had a record as well of the license it was released under. So all of the graphics you're about to see, they weren't created by me, but they were released under a permissive license that can be used with the software. So, and that's also documented in the code as well. So that's enough of the demonstration, but let me know if you have any questions. And even if you're not watching this live, leave a comment and I'll do my best to get back to you. So just go back to the intermission screen. All right, let's get this away from my screen. And I did manage to test it on a Raspberry Pi earlier in the evening. So I got it to build using the instructions from the repository and roughly tested it. But okay, and here is the big reveal. So this is the first running of GCompris-ra. And I've included a screen in there that says this is the RA to Elite Read Along to Learn English fork of the GCompris. It's version 25.50 and the date it was built onto. So I don't know the name of this versioning system, but it's similar to what Ubuntu uses. So the version is 2025, where 20 is just assumed, 5 is for May, and then the number is the version number it was released in the month. So it might be the 17th, and it still might be the first version. This one's still version 0, as it's not quite ready, in my opinion. But after the testing, it will be. I'll bump it up to version 1. Well, I'll probably just adjust the main branch. But anyway, I think we can look over small things like just updating the version number. So here's the original, here's the code where it can be downloaded, and here's where the original code was. So there's a lot to do there, which I think I've made some other videos about it. So there's a lot of activities there, and I want to make some there. But what I saw and thought, hey, well, this would make a good version, is memory enumerate. And I thought, well, okay, so it's got a card, and each card I've got to match the number and the number of butterflies. So this one, 2 versus 2. Woohoo! And I'll just go on to expand a little bit more. So we've now got 3, so 6 cards in total. So I thought, well, what if I add a word and then a SVG of the item, and that way people would get exposure to what the items are, and they could see the things and hopefully learn at their own pace as well. So, so I'll finish this one off. And back to the beginning. So it's in letters, the words, and then word picture memory game. I haven't quite adjusted the graphic yet, but here we are. So we've got 16 cards in front of us, and they've got different things on them. So there's a truck and Bowser. Bowser's where you fill up and get more petrol or diesel. So helicopter or airplane. Okay, so helicopter and helicopter. So it matches off. And then car. That looks like will be a train. So there's the Bowser. Bike. I haven't seen that yet, but I think lorry, or another name for a truck. And I don't think I've seen the ship yet either. Train, no, there we go, there's the ship. Airplane, I think that's missing, no, okay. There we go, airplane. Bike and bike. And the last two should match a train and train. Okay. Woohoo! So out of the levels, that's the first one cleared. There's a data set. There's 7 levels available. I haven't quite tuned the skill level. It's got a different difficulty level. But if I do save and get rid of transport 1 and then go out and then come back, should remember that we don't want to play that one again, and it'll give us a new version. So I've got a whole bunch of new things to see. So okay, remembering rocket and lights, I think caravan and caravan. So it's like a little mobile home. And there's the barrier. So I'm not quite, because I'm talking and presenting at the same time, I'm not quite on bringing my aim game to my memory, but it should be good enough. Okay, so rocket and jet ski. All right, so rocket, there we go. So it doesn't matter how many times we flip cards over. There is a variant where 2 players can play, and one of the variants you can play against Tux in one of the other games, but this one is just single player. and it should aid with the repetitious being able to see things many times. So a ute is short for utility. It was designed to be a car, I think, from the Australian outback of single car where the farmer can drive around the farm on the weekday and then go into the city on the weekend rather than have two cars. Okay, so I'm going to add data set back in. I'm going to number 3. So I'll take a gift horse when I can see it. Luggage, if they're going to give it to me, then yeah, I'll get there eventually. And key, that narrows things down real quickly. So electrical outlet, bath, sink. So power outlet. I got lucky with that one. That's a bed viewed from the foot of the bed. And credit cards. And finally at the sink.
Woohoo!
I do have plans to change some of the graphics to show it's more tuned towards adult, particularly to remove the young lady there and the image at the back. But otherwise, build on the mechanization. So some of this might be Australian English as well. So a kettle is used to boil water, and then we've got dinner room service there with a glass of wine. Beer for this one. So I can match dinner up. Elevator, which we wouldn't have seen before, and lunch. Okay, I'll lock in on the beer. Breakfast, I'm not sure we've seen. Okay, elevator, I'll knock off. That's general room service as the food comes in under the covered tray. And there's breakfast, so we've got the muffin and presumably the coffee. Clock. And lunch, so I've got a sandwich there and a drink. So, yeah, we're on to 5th to 7. So we've got the do not disturb sign there that can be put on the door. That was just sheer lock. Toothbrush. It's a hairdryer. There's a toothbrush and toothpaste. If I wrote toothbrush and toothpaste, it would have gotten very small, so I'll do it now. Just left it a toothbrush. So hairdryer. And that's not quite toiletries, but a comb and hairdresser. So I think maybe grooming. Yeah, I'm not sure I want to put grooming in. Yeah, I might have to see about a different one. I'm not too keen. That was one I wasn't too keen on, but I decided to proceed regardless. And so that way I could get a few connected today. So toilet paper and a towel I've seen before. So a towel hanging on a coat hanger. And the toiletry. So I've got some shaving cream and soap, and I think that's deodorant there. So, and that's everything in the 5th one. Still got some more stuff that you'd see in a hotel, but things you see less frequently. So you would hope almost anywhere you go now would have an air conditioner. So TV, safe. I think everything up the top is at the bottom. All right, so washing machine to get the dirty clothes clean. Safe, I should be able to remember that one. Air conditioner, that's the outside unit, but it'll make hot and cold air. And there's the pool. Swimming pool, probably could compress that into pool. TV, short for television. Newspaper and Wi-Fi. Okay. So that's, yeah, newspaper. Alarm clock should be up the top. And last but not least, Wi-Fi. Woohoo! So that's the last one. Oh, sorry, we're now on to the last one. So this is some other signs, like some warning signs that you might see around. So that's a taxi. I probably should promote that one to one of the early ones. Yeah, I think it's no smoking and no flames. All right, let's at least get one out of the way. The iron. It's no smoking, so specifically got a cigarette. Sorry, got that confused with no flames. There we go, no flames, so taxi. Yeah, I'll make a note for this too. Taxi earlier. Bowling. So that's a double bed. And there we go, parking. Vacuum cleaner to got to clean the room, and a double bed. So that is the last of today's memory word pictures. Let's go into that. So word picture memory game. Yep, that looks good. Flip the cards to match the word in the picture. All vocabulary training and memory. Each card is hiding either a picture or a word. You have to match the words with the corresponding pictures. Keyboard controls. So I didn't change anything on that, but let's try that. Right, so yep, okay, got the keyboard controls working. Because I didn't get exposed to the code that changes that, it should be quite communal. I think I managed to, not quite sure of what the code is, but I've effectively inherited it and so effectively copied the accessibility that enumeration memory game has to create this one. Some of the other things I'm looking to change, so for things coming up into the future. So ordering letters. And changing and forming sentences. So at the moment, there is only 2 different modules there, and so that's got a submodule of 20. No, it doesn't have a submodule of 20. It's got 20 in total, but at most 2 lots of 10. So the code as is has about 20 different sentences to change, and I want to change that to put a lot more into it than this. And the house is red, starting at the beginning from words to go through, and building on the syllabus I worked on with the mind map recently published. And so I could also go to Hangman. Let's try and change some things. Yeah, I'm not sure I have images. So student, someone studying. Maybe I can put hints in there. Anyway, it's a bit past, a bit of wistful thinking at the moment. I'll just note that down. But if I can also use scalar graphics, one thing I do want to do, and I know these ones use scalar graphics as well, SVGs, I want to see about expanding this, because right now the lamp, mailbox, sailing boat, light, and fishing boat. So at the moment there is only so many different items, and I can get a lot more added into it, and that way people can associate the images with the words, and hopefully is another efficient way to expand the vocabulary as well. So so that is pretty much. Sorry, I'll just have to check something behind the scenes. Just the intermission screen up again for a bit. Okay, let's go back to the screen. So that is it. I'm happy with that to work. So I'm going to pop through and release that. I'll just keep the screen up for a moment. All right, so creating a pull request on GitHub, some things behind the scenes. Before I do that, I'm going to change one thing in the branch. I saw that, sorry, I am flying by the seat of my pants here and making stuff up as I go. Got to remember where. Yep, I'll just put the animation scene up again as I'm. Okay, found that. Oh, okay. Turns out I didn't change some code. Could be a little bit longer than expected. Just put the intermission screen up whenever I think I can something on the screen that might not be the best. The intermission screen is sent directly from the broadcasting software, not trying not to mess things up. Sorry about this delay. I really wanted to get this going, uploaded today. I just had a slight oversight. So a little bit just changing the code directly, and I don't quite want to have the screen on there. Sorry about this. Okay, changing it to 20.5.1. And completing the pull request, going into the main, and GitHub is checking to see whether it's merging. So go back to the task list. It's still checking behind the scenes. I'll split that window out in case anyone's got any questions. I can then see the chat. No, it looks like it will take a while. Anyway, that's reluctant to hit tick on it just yet. I don't want to count the eggs before they're hatched. So it's still doing its thing. But if anyone has any questions, I can jump in. And if anyone has any more requests for free play into GCompris, I'm happy to do that as well. So it looks like it's I'm not sure how long it could take. So anyway, if anyone has any questions, just leave a comment and see what I can do. Otherwise, I'm not too sure what to do. Whether I can, I've sort of run out of things to do in the stream. So it's I've certainly got some more SVGs in my pocket to add than what's been currently added. At the moment, it's about 50. I think there could be about 300 that should be able to be added relatively easily over a broad amount of things. So I've been using the website SVG repo as this is in short for Scalar Vector Graphics Repository, as a source, and looking for S collections with a public domain license or Creative Commons 0, and looking to merge those in. Might as well give them a bit of a quick shout out. So this is one of the other collections that I was looking to do. So things like scales, briefcase, purse. It's a bit hard to see there, but there's a shopping cart and things like notepad, lock, canoe, microphone, and hot dog. Pretty much all of these can be added to GCompris-ra, and hopefully GCompris can bring in some of the changes that I've done into their main program. And if they feel that's appropriate, then I'd feel honored actually. And GitHub is still going through things at the moment and saying not sure what's going on. So I might bring back a GCompris. So okay, that's what I'll do. I'll have a quick look around to see if there's a way to go through some vocabulary. So I'll just do a bit of a menu walk there. That's dropping that isn't going to matter too much. Let's see what falling words is like. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, that's looks like it's definite. And this definitely now it definitely goes through and it gets to cover everything once. So rather than something else I'd seen before that throws them up randomly. Okay, I'll make a note of that. Falling words shows words once, and sections. There we go. Let's see if I can expand onto that and then put through oh, okay, it doesn't seem to have selectable sets like the other ones, but it's certainly something I can work with. Aim, cast, blade, hero, same, over, tell, post, main, fast, live. Well, live depends on the pronunciation. Were, mean, give, all, and that's the level cleared. So let's check how many levels we've got. 6, okay. Self, caution, ornament. So something not necessarily, it's something that is decorative, not necessarily functional. Enhance, bird farm. Yeah, that's not something you'd expect to see come up very often in conversation. Bubble, squirrel. Yeah, this is, I'll probably make this the next thing on my to-do list. Neighbor, elevator. So I am assuming if someone using this is proficient in typing, whether they're using it on a tablet or a keyboard. So maybe if I set language specifically to UK English, no, okay. It doesn't have something specific, but Yeah, that's something I can work with. And I might even be able to expand it. So, and the other one I'm looking to check at the moment is I want to revisit and to see if I can modify it to do something extra is, there we go, History of Louis Braille. Okay, so I've got images, presumably vector graphics again, and it's a bit of a story to it, so it drops back to the beginning. Sorry if I'm skipping around the spot here. Okay. All right, I'll start it from the beginning and play through it normally. So, Louis Braille, or Louis Braille, born on January 4th, 1809 in Coupray. Sorry, that seems French. I'm not familiar with the towns over there, near Paris in France. Louis injured his right eye with a stitching awl from his father's workshop. At the age of 3, Louis became blind due to a severe infection that spread to his left eye. At age 10, he was sent to Paris to study at the Royal Institute for Blind Youth. He impressed his classmates and began to play the piano and the organ. Charles Barbier, a French soldier, visited his school and shared his invention of night riding, a code of 12 raised dots to share information on battlefields. Louis trims Barbier's 12 dots into 6 and invented the Braille system. He became a teacher after graduating and promoted his method while secretly teaching it at the institute. He revised and extended Braille to include mathematics, symbols, punctuations, and music notations. He died of tuberculosis. He's buried in the Pantheon in Paris. A monument is erected to honor him. Braille got accepted as a worldwide standard. Louis Braille proved that if you can have motivation, you can do incredible things. Arrange the events in the order which they happened. Select the line to move, and select its target position. Okay, so the first thing that would have happened is that he would have been born. And it looks like they light up green when the order is correct. At age 10, okay, so I'll bring that up. Age 3, that happened before he was 10. Him dying and there being a monument will be the last one. Okay, so Braille becoming a standard would have happened after he died. Say he impressed his classmates first. Okay, so if I swap, no, I got that wrong. All right, first he gets shown about the first he gets shown about the 12 dots and then he trims it down to 12 and compresses it. So, okay. So the manual for this module, read the history of Louis Braille, his biography and invention of the Braille system. Click on the previous and next buttons to move between the story pages. At the end, arrange the sequence in chronological order. Okay. Now I definitely should be able to adapt this into something. And at the moment, I'm looking to have different modules, and as people progress through, so sort of treat the program itself as a book for people to go and do some things. So first, go and learn about some food, and then say some other places to go and visit, and then into family, and then some other things. So, and then you could even move into science and some other similar stuff. So I've pretty much covered all I've wanted to do at the moment. I sort of got trained a bit, knocking the code out of the way. I've compiled it and ran it about several different times. And so if there's anything anyone wants me to address before I might finish up, please leave a comment. Otherwise, I'll go back to the task board. So actually, let's see if still got, no, it's still merging along. So I'll keep that in the background. But I'll jump back in for a bit more. All right, so bring broadcast. Okay, let's try horizontal reading practice and see what that module's about. So check if the word leg is displayed. All right. Lip, own, t, est, bed, my, do, go, who, sin, and, no, has, it. No, I didn't see it there. Check if the word an is displayed. Was, so, law, to, own, wit, be, new, they, who, had, ed, us, and him. Nope, see it there either. Out, sit, view, at, to, go or bow, it, air, see, cuts, on, hot, t, act, bit, puts. No, didn't see it there. Hopefully something will appear. Well, tax, sad, cup, to, pay, see, had, a, sit, fly, boy, any, tax. There we go. Beg, try. Yep, saw it there that time. So this one, we can change the speed, but don't really have descriptions. All right, see if users there. Hat, low, sin, see, 10, to, lot, lip, bed, law, add, win, cry, am, may. No, didn't see it there that time. So, yep, it showed it to me the first time. So, not some of all, why, you, got, it's, go, say, sad, yes. Me, one, not, two, sad, say, saw, he, war, act, to, ask, cat. I did see it there that time, but not too sure. B, age, got, est, cup, as, I has to win was sit man they get fat and no, didn't see it there. Red, best way, sun, bed, now try, one, fly, eat, saw, van, tea, well, Mets, leg, no, didn't see it there. Ask, who is one leg for joy, go, cap one, tea, job, am, now, tax, no, I didn't see it there.
Woohoo!
And so this will expand the different words. Okay, so each level it gets it's longer words. So I'll jump straight into the back end: imperfect, behavior, factory, ornament, songwriter, graduate, invention, efficient, complete, imperfect. Right. Yes. Raspberry. Okay. Accident, reverse, medicine, wingsuit, windscreen, merchant, approval, grandfather, community, register, yourselves, flower pot, graciously, windshield, television. See it there that time. Tomorrow, I should be able to expand this one as well. Tomorrow, so wingsuit, bird farm, impact, affection, under, neighbor, glacier, yourselves, guideline, crystal, medicine, ourselves, and okay. I'll make a note of this one. So let's find out, expand on reading H, reading horizontal. Okay. Check if the word spelling is displayed. Impact, function, humor, united, engineer, mathematics, ourself, uniform, dinosaurs, defender, camera, spelling. Yes, Jasmine, impacted. Resume. Okay, glacier, harmony, teaching, squirrel, snowboard, abundance, resume, community, summary, accident, reverse, reporter, competition, collision, wingsuit. Yep. So neighbor, television, abundance, minority, invention, accelerate, telephone, competition, notorious, hammer, breeze, firecracker, bubble, impacted, jewelry. No, I didn't, but I will change the speed a bit longer, a bit slower. Attached. Okay. The additional. I swear I just changed the speed. Right. I might have found a bug. Right. So let's slow it right down. Check if the word grammar is displayed. Under, positive, bicycle, elbow. No, it's definitely slower. Competition, adjustment, umbrella, prevent, lightning, agreement, recognize, and grammar. Television, co-worker, invention. Yes. Okay. Okay. Feel bad doing this, but sorry, but I'm starting to feel like I'm hitting a bit of a wall, and I think I'll wrap up the stream. pull request is still, looks like it's underway. No, it's now successfully merged and closed. All right, so I'll go back to the task board, and there we go. So the release has now been done. I've touched on the free play. I'm more than happy to put more sessions in there and go through things slowly. But after the coding done today, I feel like I've starting to get a bit tired and not bringing my best. And that's taken care of. If anyone's got any requests or something to cover in the future, please let me know. And I'll wrap it up there. So thank you for tuning in.